Hello and welcome. I'm Christine Zhou reporting for ATF TV from London. Today we are pleased to welcome back Shehzad Qazi to ATF TV. Shehzad is Managing Director of China Beige Book International that aims to help institutional investors and corporate CEOs navigate China's economy. Shehzad joins us today from New York. Welcome back to ATF TV, Shehzad.
Thanks for having me back on.
To begin with, Shehzad, can you shed some light on the main market themes for China in Q1?
Yeah, the data that we got this quarter was interesting in many ways. It was important in many ways. What we saw, first of all, was that the Chinese economy continued its recovery, getting into its fourth consecutive quarter of improvement. The more important finding, I think, was that the nature of the recovery seems to be transforming from what we saw last year. Number one, it's becoming more even. So whereas last year the economy was recovering on the back of the richer provinces, the major metropolitan areas doing well, and other parts of the country were lagging behind, this quarter we're seeing that some of the more far-flung, lesser developed, poorer parts of the country are beginning to catch up and doing just as well, if not better, than some of the larger metropolitan areas. The economy is also becoming healthier in its recovery. We're seeing, it's not just industry-led, at least in Q1. We're also seeing, in terms of state versus private, we're seeing private firms do better. So it's a less uneven, I should say, recovery. It's a healthier recovery. And those are sort of the top takeaways from what we saw.
Shehzad, while consumption got a major boost in the first quarter of 2021 when compared to 2020, retailers reported weaker results in March than in February. Why do you think this happened?
Yeah, so retail was absolutely the big boost in Q1. It was good to see that the Chinese consumer side of the economy was doing better than it had in previous quarters. The interesting thing, by the way, here is that we don't see a similar ramp up, a similar strong performance on the services side of the economy. So there are lots of questions then about the overall state of the consumer economy, the overall state of the consumption economy, and how strong really it is, because we're not seeing services come up and take the kind of lead that we need it to.
Shehzad, China Beige Book's data indicates that hopes for a so-called Made in China supercycle in 2021, where China's position as the leading global producer strengthens, is now unlikely. Why is that, and what opportunity does this present for other Asian economies?
Yeah, so at the beginning of the year, a lot of the major investment banks were putting out quite a lot of reports and so forth, and the narrative was that there is going to be a commodity supercycle, and most importantly, it was going to be China that would drive this commodity supercycle. Now, CBB data just simply do not show that to be the case. So the data were very clear in showing that firms on the ground most certainly do not seem to be showcasing the type of demand for metals that the narrative that the iBanks have been promoting would lead you to believe. The other side is also what's going on with the property market. And when we looked at the property sector data, we said, look, the property market is very clearly cooling off. And so the results just do not support the idea of there being some kind of a China-driven commodities supercycle, which of course has lots of implications for countries like Australia, even far from places like Brazil that are, that export iron ore and other raw goods that ultimately China consumes to produce its various metals, whether it's aluminum, whether it's copper, and so forth. So I think the market has been overly aggressive on the commodity supercycle narrative, at least insofar as the China component of it is concerned.
Thank you so much, Shehzad.
Thanks for having me.
And thank you everyone for watching. For more stories like this, please log on to asiatimesfinancial.com for the best Asia news on markets, economies, and more. I'm Christine Zhou reporting for ATF TV.